Rising from the ashes. Ayan stood at the edge of the railway station, staring at the departing train. His heart was heavy, his fists clenched. He had failed again. The job interview that could have changed his life had gone horribly wrong. The manager barely looked at his resume before shaking his head. "You don't have enough qualifications," he had said, dismissing him like he was invisible. Ayan had walked out of the building with his dreams crushed yet again. How many times had he tried? How many nights had he stayed awake, working odd jobs to save enough for a better future? Yet, every attempt ended in disappointment. He was tired, tired of trying, tired of dreaming, tired of hoping for something better. The streets of Kolkata were bustling as usual. People rushed past him, going about their lives, oblivious to his struggle. He could hear the sound of street vendors calling out, rickshaws moving through the narrow lanes, and distant honking of cars stuck in endless traffic. But to Ayan, the world felt silent. As he started walking, his mind drifted back to his childhood. He had once been a bright student, full of ambition. He dreamed of becoming an engineer, of creating something that would change the world. But life had other plans. His father had fallen sick, and with no savings left, Ayan had to quit school and start working. He had done everything: washing dishes at roadside stalls, carrying heavy loads at the dockyard, working at a construction site under the burning sun. Every rupee he earned went into keeping his family alive. But now, at 26, he felt stuck. A sudden voice shook him out of his thoughts. "Lost in thought again, Ayan?" It was Kabir, an old friend from school. Unlike Ayan, Kabir had been able to continue his studies and was now working in a reputed company. Seeing him only made Ayan feel worse. "I heard about the interview," Kabir said. "I'm sorry it didn't work out." Ayan forced a smile. "It's fine. I'm used to it." "No, it's not fine," Kabir said, his voice firm. "You're giving up. I can see it in your eyes." Ayan sighed. "What else am I supposed to do, Kabir? I've tried everything." Kabir placed a hand on his shoulder. "No, you haven't. You've been trying to fit into a world that refuses to see your potential. Maybe it's time you build your own path." Ayan looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" Kabir smiled. "Come with me." Kabir took Ayan to a small workshop on the outskirts of the city. It was a modest space, filled with various machines and tools. A few workers were busy assembling parts, while others worked on electronic repairs. The air smelled of metal and grease. "This is where I work when I'm not at my job," Kabir said. "I started this a year ago with a few friends. We fix and rebuild old machines, and sometimes we create our own designs. You always loved engineering, Ayan. Why don't you give it a try?" Ayan hesitated. "I don't know anything about this," Kabir laughed. "You think any of us did when we started, we learned. Just like you can." Ayan looked around. He saw a young boy carefully assembling a circuit board, an old man welding pieces of metal together. They all seemed focused, determined. Something inside him stirred. Was this a second chance? The next few weeks were difficult. Ayan struggled to understand the technical aspects of the work. He made mistakes, burnt his fingers while welding, and often felt like walking away. But every time he thought of quitting, he remembered the way Kabir had looked at him, with belief. So he pushed himself. He stayed late at the workshop, reading manuals, watching tutorials on an old computer, asking endless questions. His hands, once rough from hard labor, began to move with precision. He built his first simple circuit, then repaired an old radio. Slowly, he started creating small, useful devices. Months passed, and Ayan was no longer the lost man who had failed yet another interview. He was now an innovator, someone who could build something out of nothing. One day, he had an idea. Ayan noticed that many street vendors struggled with lighting at night. Most used kerosene lamps, which were expensive and dangerous. So he designed a simple, affordable solar-powered lamp. He built a prototype and tested it. It worked. Excited, he showed it to Kabir and the others. They were impressed. Together, they improved the design, making it more efficient and cost-effective. Ayan and Kabir decided to take it to the streets. They visited vendors, small shop owners, and even slum areas, offering the solar lamps at a minimal price. People bought them. They loved them. Soon, word spread. NGOs took interest. Ayan's small idea turned into a full-fledged project. Investors came forward. Orders started flowing in. In just 2 years, Ayan went from being an unemployed rickshaw puller to the owner of a growing startup that provided sustainable energy solutions. His company was not only making profits but was also changing lives. One evening, as Ayan stood outside his office, a place that was once just a dream, he saw a familiar face. The manager who had rejected him years ago. The same man who had dismissed him without a second thought was now standing before him, asking if Ayan's company had job openings. Ayan smiled. Life had come full circle. He extended his hand and said, "There's always room for those who are willing to work hard." The manager shook his hand, unaware of how much that moment meant to Ayan. As the sun set, Ayan realized something important. Failure was never the end. It was simply a detour. His road to redemption had been long and painful, but he had walked it, and he had emerged stronger. Final words. No matter how many times life knocks you down, you always have the power to stand back up. The world may not see your potential at first, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If doors close, build your own. If opportunities don't come, create them. Ayan's story is not just his own, it is the story of every dreamer who refuses to give up. So if you are struggling, if you feel lost, remember this: your journey isn't over yet. Keep moving, keep believing, and one day, your redemption will come.
If you like the story, give it a like and share it with your friends so that more people can see it and benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates.